for clicking this video. Nope, not today. Yes, today we're gonna do it. This video is coming a little bit late to you, but it's gonna benefit somebody for sure. Always. My name is Pusla Kuma. Thanks for watching and thanks for subscribing. I don't know if you know this, but fun fact, I was a PCT, patient care technician, before I became a registered nurse in the US. So I was a registered nurse in Ghana, came to the US, worked as a PCT close to 2 years before I got my paperwork and things together, before I began my nursing process and became an RN finally. Yeah. So let me tell you about PCT. You might be familiar with the word CNA. Yes, CNA. Let me put this on. CNA. CNA is Certified Nurse Assistant. PCT, Patient Care Technician. There's a little difference. As CNA is self-explanatory, CNA, Certified Nurse Assistant. You're a Certified Nurse Assistant. You assist the nurse, but you have a certification to assist the nurse. So you need like a 4 to 6 weeks training, depending on the state you find yourself. Once again, then you get a certification to practice. So the board gives you a certification in the state in which you want to practice. Then you can now work as a CNA. You always need a certification to work as a CNA. Whereby as a PCT, Patient Care Technician, you do not need certification to practice. I'm told some states you need certification because they call them PCT. But in New York State, you're either a CNA or a PCT. For the CNA, you need certification to practice for sure. Some are online courses you take for 4 to 6 weeks, and you do little in-person practicals where they walk you through the process and get you ready. So I was a PCT, Patient Care Technician, for close to 2 years, as I mentioned. I got this chance to be a PCT because of my resume, my previous nursing practice. I am an RN, so coming down to work as a PCT is actually a step below. But that is what I had to do to get familiarized with the environment before I began my nursing process in the US. So if you're a nurse, a foreign or international trained nurse who had come into the US or gone into another country and working towards getting your license for that country to practice, I would advise you to take a job in the hospital. It gives you a chance to see how the hospital setting is in that new country so that you can familiarize yourself with how the life and workflow of the hospital is and see if it's this something you are willing to do. It actually prepares you. It gave me a lot of advantages working as an RN because I already know the hospital setting, the patient's population, their disease management progress. I'm always attached to the nurses and working closely with them and going with them and seeing what it is like. So for me, I got to work as a PCT because of that RN background from Ghana. But if you want to be a PCT, they look at a high school diploma or a GED. You should be 18 years and older, and you should be willing to take the certification to work as a CNA. I'm going to be using the words interchangeably: PCT, Patient Care Technician, and CNA. I'm going to spell out their job requirements for you, and you see that there's no much difference, just that one in certification for sure to practice. Yes. And just before I forget, there's travel CNA. CNAs are traveling just like nurses are traveling and making money. There's travel CNA. Oh, it's freezing in here. Let's get this around me. So I started a job as a PCT, Patient Care Technician. My job role, my job description, what I'm expected to do. Certain things like vital signs. You take vital signs of patients. In some hospitals, PCTs or CNAs do Aki check. They do finger sticks and check for blood sugar level or blood glucose. But where I was working, the PCT was not allowed to do a BG check, so we don't check for blood glucose level. The nurses do that. You clean patients, incontinence care. You bathe patients. You clean patients when they soil themselves. You feed patients. You serve them if they want extra food or something. You warm up my food in the microwave. You do transfer, move them from the bed to the chair, and for activities of daily living, you take them back from the chair to the bed. You walk them. Sometimes if they are checking, the nurse wants to check pulse oximetry, they want to check their oxygen level, you help them walk. Some of them are using walkers cane. You help them walk around. Some of them just want to walk. Some of them want to go outside and catch some fresh air. So you take them out, you still sit with them. They take some little break out there and come back inside. You help them do discharges. You take them in a wheelchair and take them to the discharge lounge and make sure their ride come for them, make sure they get into the ride safely, and you come back and bring the wheelchair back. So you are basically like a runner or an errand person, but you are working closely to the with the nurses and the patients. So in a day, they can assign you to this particular nurse. So if the nurse has 6 patients, you are assigned to work with those 6 patients of the nurse. Sometimes you come in and you are the only person on the whole floor. The floor I used to work was a very huge floor, 40 bed capacity, yeah, 40 bed capacity. So the days that some other PCTs call in, they don't show up for work, then you come and you have to serve the whole floor. You're the one person running around. It was so stressful and crazy. That was a motivation for me to study hard and hurry up and get my RN and get it going, you know. Yes, so my floor used to do one-to-ones. Patients who are on suicide precaution, the PCTs have to sit with those patients and make sure they are safe. So there's an empty room, just a bed with a paper gown and a paper sheet spread on the bed. So you have to stay and watch them. So the nurses obviously can't leave their patients and sit with the patient. So the PCTs have to pull off the floor to go and sit with that patient. As I said, my floor was very huge. We had so many patients. So if you have like 5 PCTs, we never have that. We are always short staffed and people always calling because of the workload. So if you have 4 PCTs and we have 2 patients who are on suicide one-to-one precaution, they pull 2 PCTs to go and sit with those patients, then you're left with 2 on the floor. So 1 PCT will take 1/2 of the floor and the other will take 1/2. 20 patients here, 20 patients here. You're going to be grabbing vital signs for all the 20 patients. In between, there's errands. You're going in to grab somebody's vital signs and they are sitting in poop and urine. You can't do the vital signs and walk away. So you have to clean them up, get them all dressed up. If it's the morning shift, you have to get them dressed up and get them out of the bed. The goal is to get every patient out of the bed, get them moving so that they can get discharged and go out to nursing home or go home. So you have to stop your vital signs, clean that patient up, get them into the chair before you move on with your vital signs. In between, someone wants something to drink, someone wants something to eat, someone wants you to charge their phone, someone wants you to tie their shoelace, someone wants you to call a family member, someone is asking for their discharge paper. So you be going in and out. You put a lot of strain on my back and my feet. I was working long 12 hours. I know most CNAs do 16 hours. Those who work in facilities and nursing homes, you do like 16 hours, you do a double. That is a lot of work, yes. So this is just a little bit about the rules of a CNA. So you're running errands, you are like a runner, you are helping the nurse get their works done. So whilst you're stuck in one room, the nurse is waiting on you for the vital signs, for their patients to give them their morning medications. So you are all over the place. So if you get a day to be sitting with a patient, even if the patient is aggressive, you prefer that little break of doing the one-to-one sitting than to be running up and down. Whereas in another facility where I work as an RN, the hospital have their own sitters. They don't use the PCTs or CNAs to sit with patients. They have a GPS system. They have a system where people come and sit with those patients who are on suicide precaution or patients who are who wander around, wandering patients, Alzheimer's, dementia. They have their own persons they will send to the floor to come and sit so that you can have your PCT to stay and do their PCT job on the floor. Yes. So we used to fight over being a sitter. So we have a book. If you sit with a patient today, you're going to be on the floor the next day. Somebody else will have to go sit with the patient. And this PCT job is very good. As I said, it's a pedestal for you to achieve your nursing dreams. If you are in, let's say you just finished high school and your goal is to become a nurse, working as a PCT prepares you for what nursing is going to look like for you. As I said, I was already a nurse before I had to do that, whilst waiting for my paperwork to be an RN. So most of the girls that I worked with were from were in nursing school. So they were part-time. They come in when they're on vacation, or they do nights, or they do whatever works for them, and all of them have finished and now and have become RN. Yes. So I have few friends who work in the CNA setting in nursing home, where they say they have like maybe 1 or 2 CNAs for the whole residents. They use residents, and we use patients in the hospital. The word is patients, but out of the hospital or nursing home, they call them residents, or in facilities they call them residents. And if you're lucky and your resident or your patient is somebody who is able to walkie-talkie, they're able to do basic stuff for themselves, that is good. But the numbers are always mixed up. There's somebody who is stuck to the bed and you'd have to do a lot of things for them. You have to feed them. Some of them have feeding tubes. Some of them are incontinent, so you have to bathe them, change them, bring them out for group activities, because they have group activities together. They have crafts or singing or something to interact. So you have to get all of them up, get them ready for breakfast, get them for group activities, get them ready for the nurses to come and give their medications to them. Some of them are very, very, very demanding and they are helpless. So it's also something that puts strain on your feet and back. That's why you need to get good shoes. Invest in your good shoes. So if you are waiting at home trying to ride the anklets, I suggest you take a PCT job or a CNA job based on where you're located, and get into the setting and see if this is what is meant for you. Being in the hospital has helped me a lot. Coming from Ghana and coming to live in the US and work here, the medical system is different. The tools they use to work are all different. There's higher lifts and hover lifts and all these things that you use to assist patients to get out of bed and move them up with a sling and up and down in the air, the higher and all those things. I knew how to use those things already. The Dynamap to check the blood pressure. I know how to use all these things under my PCT role before I became an RN. So it was just go for me, because I know how to operate the Maximal that checks the blood pressure, or the Dynamap that went on wheel. And the different things I watched, catheter placement, Foley placement, I only observed because I was not an RN then. It was very, very sad that you know something and that is your field and you are not able to practice it. Yeah, it was, you had to be tough. You had to like toughen your mind to get that. There are so many nurses who did the same thing, and that would motivate you to like become the RN that you used to be. So if you have a high school diploma and you're sitting at home, you were thinking what you want to do when you travel to the US or travel to another country, get a job as an assistant in the hospital and see how it is like first before you go in. It is something that will really, really prepare your mind for the greater goal that you want to achieve. Yes. So the CNA or PCT, minimum wage job, minimum wage salary. I remember they started me off, was it $12 an hour? And overtime was like 21. And because you are so exhausted, how many overtime can you put in? You're already working 12 hours for like maybe 4 days. I was working 40 hours, so I was going 4 days. You mix with 12 hours and 8 hours, yes. So you're already exhausted. So the other days, if you want to do overtime, maximum of 1 day, you can go. And woe besides when you go, and those days are very terrible. And you're like, oh my God, who asked me to pick up this overtime? You know what I mean? Yes. So they started me like $12 an hour. This is upstate New York, so it depends on your location as well. Now with COVID, people have gotten different kind of raises based on where you are. I think it goes as high as $17 an hour based on where you are, and some are even making $23 an hour. But I started with $12, then I got the raise of 30 cents. OMG, it's like $12.30. Then it went to $13, then it went to $14. I think I left at $14 an hour. But now I know someone who just started as a PCT, and he's making $17 an hour. So it depends on location, where you are, and the cost of living there will determine how much they pay you. And if you make it a temporary goal, you just want to do it for a while, then figure out what you want to do. I had a colleague who was getting her pre-med together to go to medical school. She was also a PCT. Even though her goal is to become a doctor, she was also working with us whilst getting her pre-med together to be in medical school. We had people that were getting their prereqs together to go to nursing school, and they were also PCTs as well. We have people who were interested in going into radiology or something, but they just wanted to be in the hospital environment, see other people and see other professions, because there's a whole team. There's a social worker, there's a care coordinator, there's a doctor, there's an anesthesiologist, there's a respiratory tech. We have all type of professions. There's a chef, there's a nutritionist, there's a dietitian. So being in the hospital exposes you to all these things. And as soon as you're done with nursing school, you already have a job there. They are waiting to rush you. They want to keep you there because you're one of them. As soon as you're done with medical school, it's easier for you to come back and inculcate yourself into the system because you once worked there. Yeah, so no regrets at all, just that the money was not good at all. I was going to use the word BS, but oops, I just did. Yeah, the money was not good. It couldn't sustain you if you have a larger family with kids and all the bills to pay. Then you'd have to exert yourself and do a lot of overtime or pick up another job elsewhere. But my PCT life was stressful. The job was stressful. And mind you, I was studying at the same time working a full-time job. I was combining or studying to take my boards, the NCLEX, whilst working as a PCT. Some of the patients were very good, very sweet. Some of them were very mean, and I don't blame them. It's very hard to be a patient because I've been a patient several times, and some of them feel helpless and they used to move around and do their own things, and now somebody has to do everything for them. So it's really sad and very depressing, and I don't blame them. But my life as a PCT has been great. No regrets. I learned a lot. I learned a lot, and those are skills that nobody can take from me. Those are skills that I have, and they are my skills. And thanks for watching. Subscribe, share my videos, and if you're getting ready to go into nursing school, I wish you all the best. It seems very tough, but people have done it, and you're going to be able to do it. And just figure out what you wanted to do, give it time, and stay focused. You're almost at the finish line. And I'll see you in my next video. Thank you. Bye bye. Love you.